Welcome back to another video. Today we're at the track. This is going to be my second track session for the week. We're going to be doing some acceleration complex work, developing that first 20 meters of the sprint, and then we're going to go into some max velocity work, try to hit some higher intensity all-out sprints to kind of end the session. Not a whole lot of work to do today. Going to do 4 to 5 sets on the acceleration complex. Then I'm going to do 2 reps on the fly-ins. Based off how the week has been feeling so far, this is my intense week, so a lot of heavy lifting already. Body is feeling fatigued. My energy level feels good. Like, I feel ready to train and I feel ready to do the work. I just feel like the body is a little bit fatigued and I'm not going to be moving as fast as previous weeks leading into today, which is fine. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who has been supporting the channel. All the comments that are just literally comments that say algorithm support are hilarious. I appreciate those. So drop a comment for the algorithm. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. I'm gonna knock out my warm-up and then we're gonna get into the Excel complex. Warm-up's done. I feel like I am as loose and warm as I'm gonna get for today. A little bit stiff. Feel like the low back doesn't wanna disassociate from the hips too much. There's a lot of stiffness down there. So I did a little bit more on my warm-up to kind of loosen up the low back. Feels a little better, but we're gonna load up the sled. 70 kilos on the sled. We're gonna be doing a 20-meter acceleration with 70, which is a very heavy, hard sled acceleration. Then we're gonna go into a 20-meter acceleration bound, and then a 20-meter accel. So I think what I'm gonna do is during those 20-meter accels, I'm gonna set up the timing cones for the last 10 meters on that and try to get a few numbers just to kind of see where I'm at. I don't expect it to be blazing fast. It's probably gonna be in like the 110 ranges, maybe 115s. So I'm gonna lace them up. We're gonna knock out the first set. The idea here is 4 to 5 sets total. You'll do the sled acceleration, rest 30 seconds, acceleration bound, rest 30 seconds, acceleration, and then rest about 3 minutes. So try to complex that in. I might stretch the 30-second rest out to like 45 seconds just because we're going at such a heavier load for 20 meters. I don't normally do 70 kilos or 70% body weight for that distance. So I just cut my finger. So we will probably take a little bit longer of a break than 30 seconds in between each, but more so just kind of feel it out on that first set and then make the adjustments as needed for sets 3 through 5, or for sets 2 through 5. So spikes are on, sled is loaded, let's get after it. So first set's done, 20, 20, 20. I'm gonna be timing the last 10 meters on that 20-meter acceleration. I got a 114 on the first one, which is kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting somewhere around 115. So even though I would consider like my readiness to train today lower than average, the time on that last 10 is pretty standard to what I normally hit. I'm somewhere around like a 113 to 116 range, just depending on the day. I'll take it. We're gonna time the last, we're only gonna be timing the acceleration at the end because I only care about what that last 10 meters is gonna be right now. So today's session is a progression off of the last 2 weeks. Week 1, I did 10 meters on each of these. So I did a 10-meter sled acceleration, same weight, and then I did a 10-meter acceleration bound, and then I did a 10-meter acceleration. Week 2, we extended that out to 15, 15, 15. Week 3, we're extending it out further to 20, 20, 20. 3 more minimum, maybe 4, depending on how everything goes. I'm gonna use the time on that last 10 to dictate whether I'm gonna do 4 or 5 sets today. So if it starts to drop off drastically, I'll stop at 4. I'll do a minimum of 4 no matter what. But if through 4, it's maintaining its time, then I'll do a 5th repetition to get a little bit more volume on that last rep. So it's been about 3 minutes or so. I just realized, I looked at the sled. I've been doing the sled sprints at 70 kilos, and I just realized there's only 60 kilos on the sled today. But I think I'm just gonna, we already did set 1 with 60, so I'm gonna keep it at 60. Normally I would keep the weight the same. A little bit of a decrease today, given the fact that we're a little bit more tired. Not necessarily a bad thing, so messed up, but we're gonna keep it. 60 kilos on the sled. All right, just for fun, on this next rep, I'm gonna wear the timing chip for the acceleration bounds and the accel, just to see what the difference in the two is. I don't have an expectation for it, but I got the timing eyes out, so might as well time it. Second set done. The acceleration bound from 10 to 20 was a 126, and then my acceleration from 10 to 20 was a 115. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but it felt good. One thing I would say about this, 20 meters would more than likely be the maximum distance I would recommend for most. The hardest part of this is going to be able to maintain the angle during the acceleration bound. You've got to put a lot of force into the ground and continue to project yourself forward in order to maintain that acceleration angle. You don't want it to just turn into kind of like an alternating bound where you're a little bit too far upright. So 20 meters is close to the max. Outside of that, I think you're going to start losing quality on the acceleration bound. And then I think more than 20 meters with that heavy of a sled, you'll also start losing quality on what the intent of that sled is going to be. You still want that sled to be heavy and hard. You don't want it to just turn into being heavy. And the longer distance you go with that kind of weight, the less quality you're going to get towards the end of those runs. You might start off well for the first 10 to 15 meters, but then 20, 25 plus, those last few steps aren't really doing much for you in terms of producing extra force. You're just kind of going to be grinding those last meters out. So keep the distance to a manageable distance. Don't spread it out too far thinking more is going to be better. It's not necessarily the case. Take about 2 more minute break. We'll knock out a third set. 114 on the first one for that last 10. 115 on the second. Let's try to get 114 again on the third here. So, I don't know if you see that. 113. I feel like as I'm doing these sets, that sled is kind of loosening up my back. That kind of pull at the hip, I feel like is kind of opening up that, you know, the lower spine a little bit, kind of getting loose. Feels good. The acceleration bound felt good on that one. I think the difference between that third set, which was a 113, and the set prior was a 115, was I felt like my first 2 steps were a lot better on that acceleration. I felt like I really got off, exploded, was able to get good extension on that first step, on that first drive step, and then switch the legs quickly and kind of blow through that second one. I think we're gonna end up doing 5 reps. 3 are done now. Take another couple minute break, and then we're gonna knock out set number 4. By the way, the OPC today, we're at about 22, which is a new OPC personal best. Alright, rep number 4. 116. We're gonna do one more. I don't want to end on a 116. So we're gonna rest up, knock out one more set. I want 114 or below again. So I'll make a deal. If I hit 114 or below 114 and you're not subscribed, you have to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, you gotta like the video. 114 or bust. Alright, so y'all ready for this? Rep number 5. There is a saying when people are training. They say last set, best set. Last rep, best rep. Whatever it might be. That was today. 112. Said 114 or bust. Hit a 112. Go ahead, take a moment, like, subscribe, and then we're gonna get on to some max flies. That was absolute garbage. It was a 103. During the sled work, the bounds, the acceleration, I felt like my back was getting loose more and more as we were going. But upright sprinting, it feels really locked up. Like I'm not able to go through my natural running gait and really put some force down. I just feel like everything is stiff and it doesn't want to move right now. But that first rep was a 103, not the best time. I'm not really super concerned about trying to hit the absolute fastest number today. Just want to maintain that stimulus. Although last week when I did this, I did hit a PB on the max fly. We're gonna take about a 4-minute break and just do one more. So I'm actually gonna not sit here for 4 minutes. I'm gonna get up, walk around, try to loosen up that little low back a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and send it for one more rep. All right, we hit 103 twice today. There's a bunch of numbers in there because I walked past the cone on accident, but you'll see rep number 1 down here, 103, rep number 2, 103. Session's done. Overall, good session. Even though numbers, aren't where they've been in previous weeks, that's to be expected with this week. With this week being kind of an overreaching phase where you're trying to push what you're able to recover from. You're not going to see your best numbers consistently throughout that week. So the focus of today with that acceleration complex was good. I felt great during that. Each rep was starting to feel better as we were going. With the max velocity, that back being as tight as it is, just didn't feel like I could open up and really get into a stride like I normally do. So hit 103 twice on that, which is not bad numbers for a flying 10, but nowhere near what I've done in the previous weeks, especially last week when I hit that .94, which was a PB. So to continuously hit those like week after week, every single time, is not a realistic expectation. So having your ups and downs is just part of training. This week is definitely a down week, given the fact that even though it's supposed to be heavy and hard, it's just burying me into the ground right now. So I'm gonna count today as a victory. One thing I'm going to need to do is replace these bad boys pretty soon. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's holes here in the toe. I can get my finger in there. There's holes starting to pop up on the side here, on both shoes. There's holes on that side. We got holes in the toes. We got holes in different area codes. That's gonna be the video for today. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll be back at it tomorrow.